In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 exercises you should avoid once you're past 40, and more importantly, what you can do instead. If your goal is to stay strong, active, and protect your joints as you age, then you'll want to steer clear of these moves. These are the types of exercises that often create the most trouble, even for people who think they're training correctly. That's why I'll not only highlight the problem movements but also show you smarter, safer alternatives that deliver better results. Before we jump into the list, I want to set the stage with something important. No workout is automatically good or bad. It always comes down to who's doing it, the way it's being performed, and the outcome that person is aiming for. Take a professional athlete, for example. If someone is training for a competition, pushing through advanced movements like heavy cleans or snatches might make sense. The payoff is worth the challenge for them. But let's look at a different case. Say you're in your mid-40s, working long hours at a desk, dealing with stiff shoulders and a tight lower back. For you, those same explosive lifts could carry a much higher chance of pain or injury, especially when there are other exercises that can help you build strength more safely. Recovery also becomes a big factor. After 40, your body doesn't bounce back like it did in your 20s. That's why choosing exercises that are easier on the joints, promote recovery, and still help you make progress is key. Consistency is where real results come from. And remember, fitness isn't just about avoiding pain, it's about building longevity. You want movements that strengthen your body, improve mobility, and support cardiovascular health without setting you up for setbacks. Now, there are always exceptions. Some people thrive on these challenging lifts even past 40, and that's fine. But for the majority of busy adults who aren't in peak athletic condition, these exercises carry more risk than reward. Especially when there are smarter, joint-friendly alternatives that can give you the same, if not better, benefits. Exercise number 1. Heavy back squats. The first movement I'd suggest avoiding once you're over 40 is the heavy barbell back squat. You've probably seen it all over gyms and social media, huge stacks of plates on a bar with someone crouched underneath like they're about to lift the entire building. Here's the issue. Once you're past 40, placing that much weight directly on your spine and knees can create a lot of stress. Most people also don't have the mobility or flexibility to squat deep with perfect form, which usually leads to leaning forward or compensating. And when that happens, the pressure often shifts straight into your lower back or knees. What many don't realize is that the back squat isn't as simple as it looks. It's actually a very technical lift. You have to master breathing and bracing, keep the bar path consistent, and even the bar's position on your shoulders changes which muscles get worked. For most people, learning perfect form can take weeks or even months. The good news? There are safer and more joint-friendly alternatives that deliver similar, if not better, results. Instead of heavy back squats, I recommend Bulgarian split squats or the leg press machine. Bulgarian split squats. These are tough but extremely effective. They train each leg individually, improve balance and core stability, and because you hold the weights at your sides, they put far less strain on your lower back. You can also tweak your posture to emphasize different muscles. Leaning slightly forward targets the glutes, while staying more upright shifts the focus to your quads. Leg press. This option lets you move heavier weight without loading your spine. The machine guides the movement, which lowers the risk of bad form and helps with injury prevention. Foot placement makes a big difference here. Higher on the platform activates more of the glutes, while lower down hits the quads harder. Finding the right position for your body is key to keeping it safe and effective. Exercise number 2. Conventional deadlifts. This one might ruffle some feathers, but it needs to be said, the traditional barbell deadlift. Don't get me wrong, I love deadlifts. They make you feel powerful, and when your form is spot on, you can lift more weight than you ever thought possible. The problem is, as we get older, recovery becomes harder. Pulling heavy weight off the floor with the bar in front of your body forces you into a deep hinge position, which puts tremendous stress on the lower back and spinal discs. If your hips or hamstrings are tight, your back will naturally start to round, and that's when those all too common "I tweaked my back" stories happen. Another thing to consider is ego. Squats and deadlifts are two lifts where it's tempting to keep stacking plates just to prove how strong you are. But once you're over 40, lifting with your ego is one of the fastest ways to end up injured. We're not teenagers anymore, we need to be smarter with how we train. If you still enjoy deadlifting but want to minimize the risks, there are safer alternatives. Trap bar deadlifts. With this variation, The weight is aligned with your body instead of sitting out in front. That small change reduces the pressure on your spine while still giving you the benefits of a full body pull. Hip thrusts. These specifically target your glutes and also work the hamstrings, without straining the lower back. They're an excellent way to strengthen the posterior chain safely. With these swaps, you'll still build strength and power, but without pushing your spine to its limits. Exercise number 3. Long distance running. This one might surprise some people, especially if you're a fan of marathons. But training for long distance runs is one of the habits I recommend avoiding after 40. A while back, I met a man in his late 40s who was determined to run a marathon because he thought it would be the ultimate proof of fitness. He trained hard, logging mile after mile almost every day. At first, he lost weight and felt accomplished, but soon the warning signs started to show. Constant knee soreness, low energy, and difficulty recovering between runs. Instead of looking healthier, he looked drained. When we dug deeper, it became clear that the repetitive stress of long-distance running was breaking down muscle faster than his body could rebuild it. His hormones were out of balance, and his body composition was shifting in the wrong direction. So, we restructured his routine. He cut back on the endless mileage and focused more on strength training combined with low-intensity cardio, like incline walking and short interval sprints. Just a few months later, he wasn't just leaner, he was stronger, had more energy, and his joints felt much better. Most importantly, he could enjoy his everyday life without pain holding him back. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy a runner's high, too. But doing endless miles every week takes a toll on your knees, hips, and ankles. It also raises cortisol, which can eat away at muscle and slow down recovery from strength training. As we age, building and maintaining muscle becomes just as important as cardiovascular health. That's why endless running isn't the best trade-off. A lot of people also think running long distances is mandatory for weight loss, just because they see it glorified online. But here's the truth, you don't need it. Without pairing endurance training with proper strength workouts and adequate protein intake, you'll eventually lose muscle, and that hurts your metabolism. Worst of all, most people don't even enjoy long-distance running, they just feel pressured into it. So, what's the smarter alternative? Walking. Walking is what I call low-cost cardio. You get nearly all the benefits: better heart health, improved aerobic capacity, fat loss support, and even faster recovery, without the downsides. It's easy on the joints, it can be done daily, and it won't leave you limping down the stairs the next morning. The best part? You can choose the style of walking that works for you. Incline walking on a treadmill, hiking outdoors, rucking with a backpack, or even using a treadmill desk like I do. It's flexible, sustainable, and supports your long-term health without burning you out. Exercise number 4. Behind the neck shoulder press. Now, the next exercise I'd recommend avoiding after 40 is the behind the neck shoulder press. You've probably seen people loading up a barbell, dropping it behind their head, and pressing it overhead like it's no big deal. But here's the problem. This movement forces your shoulders into an extreme, unnatural position that most people simply don't have the mobility for, especially as we get older. When you push heavy weight from behind your head, you're placing your shoulder joint and rotator cuff under a lot of unnecessary stress. Over time, this can lead to impingement, inflammation, or even serious tears. And let's be honest, shoulder injuries are some of the hardest to recover from and can set your training back for months. The thing to remember is that shoulder pressing isn't bad, it's just that this particular variation creates more risk than reward once you're past 40. Fortunately, there are much safer alternatives that still give you strong, defined shoulders without grinding down the joints. Dumbbell overhead press. Using dumbbells allows your shoulders to move in a more natural range of motion. You're not locked into a fixed bar path, which reduces strain and keeps the movement joint-friendly. Landmine press. This is one of my favorites. Because the bar is set at an angle, you get a pressing movement that strengthens the shoulders and chest while being far easier on the joints. Plus, it works your core at the same time. Lateral raises. If your goal is to build shoulder definition rather than just brute strength, lateral raises are a fantastic option. They isolate the delts without requiring heavy loads or risky positions. So instead of cranking your shoulders into an awkward position with behind-the-neck presses, stick to movements that let your joints move naturally. You'll still build strength and size, but without setting yourself up for nagging shoulder problems down the road. Exercise number 5. Burpees. Alright, the final exercise on this list is the burpee. Everyone's favorite, look how much I'm suffering, move. And let me tell you, this one has probably paid for a lot of physical therapy sessions. The main issue is that most people don't do burpees with proper form. Instead, they turn into a messy half push-up, a sloppy jump, and a whole lot of stress on the spine. If you already deal with wrist, shoulder, or lower back issues, burpees can make them much worse. Every time you kick your legs back and snap them forward, you're rounding your spine and loading your joints in a way they're not designed to handle. What makes it tricky is that burpees look simple, but they're actually very advanced. Most people over 40 don't have the mobility, strength, or joint health to knock out high representative sets without something breaking down. And let's be real, when burpees are thrown into a workout, the goal is usually maximum exhaustion, which is exactly when form goes out the window. That combination is a recipe for injury. Here's another red flag. Some of the top strength coaches in the world don't program burpees for their athletes at all. That alone should tell you something. So what should you do instead? 2 great options. Sled pushes. This is a full body movement that challenges your legs, core, and conditioning without punishing your joints. It's almost foolproof in terms of form, which makes it much safer for people over 40. Circuit training. Break the burpee down into its individual parts and perform them as a sequence. For example, do a round of bodyweight squats, then move into push-ups, and finish with jump squats. This gives you the same conditioning effect without the joint abuse. Let me be clear, no exercise is automatically bad. What makes an exercise risky is poor form, loading too much weight, or doing it on a body that isn't prepared for it. But once you're over 40, priorities shift. Injury prevention has to come first. Recovery takes longer, and the last thing you want is being sidelined by nagging injuries that keep you out of the gym. The smartest approach is to choose exercises that you can keep doing for life, movements that deliver great results without breaking you down. That's how you'll stay strong, mobile, and energized well beyond your 40s. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.